The Galactic Council had ruled for 3 millennia, their crystalline towers stretching across 1,000 worlds like fingers of absolute authority. Each member species had their place in the hierarchy. The Zephyrians with their tactical brilliance, the Karathi with their industrial might, the Veltar with their technological supremacy. At the bottom, as always, were the humans. Marcus Chen had never intended to start a revolution. He was just tired of watching his sister work 16-hour shifts in the mining colonies, while alien overseers lived in luxury above the surface. He was tired of seeing human children denied access to advanced education, relegated to manual labor while other species' offspring studied quantum mechanics. Most of all, he was tired of the Council's favorite phrase, "Humans lack the intellectual capacity for higher functions." The plan began simply enough. Marcus worked as a maintenance technician aboard the Council's flagship, the Dominion's Pride, a position they gave humans because it was considered beneath the notice of superior species. While crawling through ventilation shafts and replacing power conduits, he had access to everything, and more importantly, nobody ever looked twice at the human with the toolbox. For months, Marcus carefully documented the Council's communications, their trade routes, their military deployments. What he discovered made his blood boil. The Council hadn't just subjugated humanity, they had deliberately stunted human development. Earth's scientists had been on the verge of breakthrough technologies when the Council arrived, offering protection in exchange for submission. Those breakthroughs had been suppressed, the research destroyed, the scientists reassigned to menial tasks. But Marcus found something else in those classified files: humanity's original research data, archived and forgotten in the Council's vast databases. They had kept it as a curiosity, never imagining a simple maintenance worker could access it, much less understand it. They underestimated human stubbornness. Working in secret, Marcus began reaching out to other humans across the galaxy, former scientists scrubbing floors, ex-engineers hauling cargo brilliant minds wasted on trivial tasks. Through encrypted messages hidden in maintenance reports, he shared what he had found. The response was immediate and fierce. Dr. Sarah Kim, once Earth's leading physicist, now assigned to cleaning laboratories, used her access to accidentally contaminate several Council research projects. Former military strategist James Rodriguez, reduced to loading dock work, began mapping Council supply lines and identifying vulnerabilities. Engineer Lisa Patel started sabotaging critical infrastructure with the kind of subtle precision that would take weeks to detect. The Council noticed the disruptions, but dismissed them as typical human incompetence. After all, how could an inferior species pose any real threat? Marcus's breakthrough came when he accessed the Council's central AI core during routine maintenance. While the system was designed to be impenetrable, its creators had never encountered human creativity. Instead of trying to hack the system directly, Marcus simply asked it questions. Polite, innocent questions about historical data, theoretical scenarios, academic curiosities. The AI, programmed to be helpful to maintenance staff, cheerfully provided access to everything Marcus needed, including the location of the Nexus, the hidden facility where the Council's power truly originated. The Nexus wasn't just a command center. It was a massive psychic amplifier that allowed the Council's telepathic species to maintain control over their vast empire. Every major decision, every act of submission, every moment of despair across 1,000 worlds fed back into this central hub, reinforcing the Council's belief in their own superiority. But the system had a flaw. It was designed to handle the predictable thought patterns of the member species: logical Zephyrians, methodical Karathi, precise Veltar. It had never been tested against the chaotic, unpredictable creativity of human minds. Marcus didn't try to destroy the Nexus. Instead, he did something far more devastating. He connected every human in the galaxy to it. The effect was instantaneous and catastrophic. 3 billion human minds filled with dreams, hopes, defiance, and an unbreakable will to be free suddenly flooded the psychic network. The Nexus, designed for order and hierarchy, couldn't process the sheer volume of human emotion and creativity. Worse, it began amplifying these thoughts across the entire galactic network. Council members who had never questioned their authority suddenly found themselves doubting. Zephyrian commanders began experiencing human empathy, feeling the pain of those they oppressed. Karathi industrialists started imagining new possibilities beyond their rigid systems. Veltar scientists found their logical minds expanded by human intuition and wonder. Within hours, the psychic foundation of the Council's authority began to crumble. Without their mental domination, subject species across the galaxy began to remember who they had been before the Council's arrival. Rebellions erupted on 1,000 worlds simultaneously. The Council tried to shut down the Nexus, but Marcus had anticipated this. During his months of preparation, he had quietly modified the system's core protocols. The Nexus couldn't be turned off without destroying the Council's own homeworlds, a price they weren't willing to pay. Desperate, they sent fleets to capture Marcus, but he was no longer hiding. Broadcasting on every frequency, his message reached every corner of the galaxy. They called us inferior because we dreamed of something better. They called us simple because we refused to accept complexity as an excuse for cruelty. They called us weak because we chose cooperation over domination. Today we show them what humanity really is. The final battle wasn't fought with weapons or technology. It was fought in the realm of ideas, and humanity had already won. The Council's member species, their minds freed from psychic influence, began to see their empire for what it truly was, a system built on fear, maintained by lies and sustained by the suppression of potential. One by one, the member worlds declared independence. The great fleets disbanded as crews refused orders. The crystalline towers fell not to bombardment, but to the simple decision of their inhabitants to walk away. Marcus Chen lived to see humanity's true potential finally unleashed, not as conquerors, but as liberators. He watched former enemies become allies, saw technologies develop that surpassed anything the Council had achieved, witnessed the birth of a truly cooperative galactic civilization. In the end, the historians would debate whether Marcus had planned it all along or simply acted on instinct. But they all agreed on one thing: sometimes it only takes one person willing to say no to shatter worlds and remake them into something better. The universe had learned a valuable lesson: never underestimate a species that refuses to accept the word impossible.